So in the process of becoming a better musician, I think it's really important to have the mindset of addition rather than subtraction. And I mean that in the context of building habits, building positive changes over time and evolving as a player. I think positively thinking through addition is going to yield much better results than always thinking negative and trying to take things away. And you see this in life as well. If you want to improve your physical health, it's much easier to add a workout or increase your steps per day than it is to reduce sedentary time. Diet's the same way. It's much easier to add vegetables and fiber than it is to try never to eat sugar. And even with mental health, it's much easier to do a gratitude journal than it is to try to stop negative thoughts. In the context of guitar playing, it can be quite challenging. It's kind of like the car wreck effect. It's negative stuff gets more clicks and more attention. So I think people will sell things in that negative way that, makes you feel like you're doing something wrong or that you don't have something and you're not a good enough player and you got to click on that video to achieve that. I mean, we've seen that, I've seen some lessons where people are like, if you're doing this, you're wrong. This is terrible. You sound awful. You sound like a scale. Whereas that's, sometimes that's appropriate and it sounds good. But if you see that, then next time you play it, you think, oh, this, I'm wrong. I'm playing bad guitar. This is awful. And so instead of being in the moment and playing what feels good, you're now thinking, this isn't good enough. This sounds bad. And it will just snowball into bad playing. Instead, if you wanted to think positively, you could think, if you're playing this and that's not good enough for you, it's fine if it is. But if it's not good enough for you, you could think, oh, let me add a groove. Let me get better at my groove. You could work on the groove and the rhythm of it. Or you could add bends. Or you could add modal stuff. Adding stuff to try to get out of the box, they say, is much better than be like, don't play in the box. You could even just frame things differently. Like one of the things I work on is as far as technique goes, it's not just trying not to push too hard. Sometimes I'll push too hard with my left fretting hand. So instead of thinking, oh, don't push hard, I think positively. Like you can just spin it, like just play lightly. So even if you're trying to take something away, I would mentally try to spin it in a positive way. It'll just lead to better change over time. And it puts you in a better place. Confidence is important when you play. So if you're thinking negatively, it's going to spin you out. Whereas if you're comfortable, you'll just play better and play more authentically. So besides changing your mindset and taking an optimistic view at it, I think there's 3 things that can help this. Number 1 is get comfortable with wherever you're at. So if you're just doing that pentatonic box, I would make sure you're at a point where you're comfortable with it and it feels good. That'll make stretching it a lot easier. And that way you can just easily add on top of it. And it doesn't feel like you're building a house of cards that can fall apart at any time. The second thing, which sounds simple, but make sure what you're adding you enjoy. If you love the blues, then it's going to be fun learning those bends and adding those bends. Whereas if you hate the diminished sound, like that's not going to be fun for you and you're not going to enjoy it. So kind of follow your bliss with that to get that upward spiral going. And then the third thing, which is sometimes the hardest for me, is pick one thing at a time. In this information age where there's so many good lessons on there, I sometimes get carried away by trying to learn 5 things. And it either takes me 2 years to get them under my fingers or I don't get any of them and I just get frustrated. So instead of trying to throw 5 different things to get out of the box, just pick one thing and work on it for 3 months or 6 months, however long it takes you. When I was learning bends, I mean, it took me a year to get comfortable with them, where other things took a couple weeks. So I think everything's a little different. So don't judge yourself too much with how fast and quick you can learn things. So I think in life it's just too easy to beat yourself up with all the stuff you're not doing or the things you're doing wrong. And most of the time that stuff isn't even true. But especially with music, music should be a place away from all that stuff in life that bothers you. It should be a sanctuary that kind of transcend the troubles of life and can just listen to the music. And so I think it's helpful not only for your playing to adopt that positive additional mindset, but I think it's also helpful just for your mental health as well. I use this often as just an escape and as my own personal place where it's just me playing music. And I think it can be easy when you're trying to get better to all of a sudden the practice and the pressure of technique and learning skills can take that away. So I think by focusing on adding things to your playing and also being comfortable where you're at will keep that positive, beautiful relationship with music. And I think it took me some time to get there. So hopefully this video maybe help somebody else get there. I don't know. Or it's just me talking.